Question number 22, coming to you from The Door tonight, located in Lopeville, Tennessee. I am Michael Pearl. This is a product of No Greater Joy Ministries. Here's the question that you have asked. The message in the book of Revelation of the seven churches, does it tell about churches in Asia or 7 periods that the church would pass through? Now, he's referring to dispensationalism, which I am definitely a dispensationalist. Books like Clarence Larkin, which most of what's in Clarence Larkin's good. Books like Clarence Larkin lay out the 7 churches of Asia and relate them to 7 time periods, beginning with the early church and coming out to the second coming of Christ. In other words, you've got 7 time periods over a period of 2,000 years of working with the church. So what many people say is that those 7 churches are prophetic of the 2,000 years of history since Christ. Now, I have taught that and have favored that. That has fallen less favored to that now than I was. I'm not going to fault anybody for teaching that, but I want to point out some things first. If you look up those 7 churches in the order they're given and get a map and look at it there, you'll find that in what is Western Turkey, Greece is just across the Aegean Sea from Western Turkey. And if you start right there by the sea with the first Ephesus, and each church that's named goes up down the highway and loops back down in an upside down U or a horseshoe. So he lists those churches. They were churches that John ministered to. And he recounts them in their geographical order of access traveling down the highway. So it'd be like starting in West Tennessee and going all the way to East Tennessee and recounting the different cities where the Christians were dwelling. So they weren't picked out randomly to be representative of certain something. And when you look at them, there is lots of, it's difficult to match the characteristic of each church with all of the church history. What I actually find is that in any period of church history, all 7 churches are present, the nature or character of them. The good points, the bad points of each church exist in Tennessee right now. In Perry County right now, you can find churches that are like any one of those 7 churches, except maybe the Philadelphian church. But certainly lots of Laodicean right now. So he says, John 1:4, and to the 7 churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you, peace. Now, in Revelation 1:19, God speaks to John and says, write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter. 3 things John was to write down. He just seen a heavenly scene. He said, write down what you've seen already. Write down the things which are right now, and the things which shall be hereafter. Up until this point, John had seen something. John, starting in chapter 2, is going to see what is at the present time. And then starting in chapter 4 through 22, it's going to be what is hereafter. So I think he's given us an outline of the book of John, things which he's seen, the things which are the 7 churches, and things which shall be hereafter. So if that were the case, that would exclude the 7 churches from that which shall be hereafter. That would make them part of the present reality. All right. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angel of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. So he's referring particularly, geographically, historically, to churches that existed at that time, to their strengths and their weaknesses. Keep in mind that all of those strengths and weaknesses existed in 7 different churches at that time. So there was not, the first one didn't represent the entire church of that era, because that was not the church of the whole era. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like the whole church is like Ephesus. It was not. The whole church was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different characteristics. And in any given age, that's true. So I am less inclined than I used to be toward the idea that that's the church historically goes through 7 periods like that. It may be true, but it is it's an analogy one draws, not the original content of the text. In other words, a lot of times God does things incidentally. There's several layers, and that could be one of the layers. It may well be. And maybe some people who know more about, and I've read a lot, but people who know more about the church history than I do, maybe they could confirm that in fact is a historical sequence of events. But I don't think so.